spend your money on diesel and coffee. Just getting started? Wondering what to spend your time and money on? Added the source. I'm not smart enough to have come up with that, just smart enough to recognize its brilliance. Edit 2, added a video version 2 minutes long. Edit 3, transcription. I was on a course a couple of days ago. 20 business owners in a room and Blaise Brosnan. Blaise was instilling his wisdom from the center of the room, telling little stories and anecdotes, and it was brilliant. This was the first of 10 courses on a Tuesday morning 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and Blaise had a PowerPoint presentation that he was going to go through with us, and he just gave us his presentation at the end. He hadn't done it. What he'd done instead was round robin through each of the attendees and get us to introduce ourselves and our business and one piece of advice to everyone else. To be on this course you have to have attended the initial 10-week course with Blaise previously, and Mandy's piece of advice to everybody in the room was something that Blaise had said in the previous course, that she'd picked up on and lived by, which was to spend your money on diesel and coffee. At the start, when you're trying to grow your business, get out there, meet people for coffees, chat to people, create relationships, try to help people, let them know what you're doing as well. That's how you get going. Apparently when Airbnb was getting started they were talking to the guys in Y Combinator. People like Paul Graham from His Stuff Is Excellent, and there's a story about how they got going. They'd realized that a lot of their initial BNB hosts were in New York, and they literally went to stay at the hosts and meet them, go out for dinner and talk to them. And by doing that they found out that some of the properties, the houses, were amazing, but the photos didn't do them justice. They asked some of the hosts, "Would you be happy if we send a photographer around to take pictures of your property?" The hosts were delighted, and then the next day a photographer came round, took pictures and made much better job than the actual hosts could do of taking pictures. A lesson there is to do things that don't scale. You're not going to do that later on in your business, but when you're small you can afford to do things that don't scale. And another lesson is something Gary Vaynerchuk says, that 1 is greater than 0. Getting 1 extra customer is better than having 0. Grow your business 1 customer at a time, which brings me back to my favorite quote from Mother Teresa: never worry about numbers, help 1 person at a time and start with the person closest to you. Andy, you're becoming the Confucius of. Great advice, as always. And the best part is people listen. Ha ha. Thanks. It's a line I heard today. I love quotes and lines that sum things up. I'll keep dropping them in as I hear them. Maybe one big thread, or lots of little ones, so I can point to the most appropriate one at the most appropriate moment. I wonder where this quote comes from. Oh. It's from Andy Black of there. Holy smoke. I only just posted that. Credit goes to Blaise Brosnan of the Wexford Management Institute. I was on a course this morning and I wrote down pages of little nuggets. It was actually one of the other attendees who said it today, but she credited it to a course she was on with Blaise a few years ago. Oops. In future I will tell the story of where I heard the phrase. Maybe I'll just drop them into this thread too instead of cluttering up the place. Any thoughts or preferences on dropping my favorite lines into one big messy thread, or cluttering up the forum with lots of little threads like I did with the AdWords stuff? Clutter up and then make a master thread. Andy's golden nuggets, collected, and then you post your short, but depth thoughts like, spend your money on diesel and coffee. Just my thoughts for not getting it too messed up in one thread. Other threads primarily deal with the way to the top, if they are named golden nugget threads, as yours is also a philosophy thread. Maybe you can approach a bit different then. Lots of little threads. I was simply impressed by the way this forums ranks so well. Post some words and you're sitting on top of Google within hours, minutes. Created a short video post when I was on the way to meet a potential client. Added to the original post. Transcription added. Yep, this is one of the best thing I've ever read about how to build a business. Do things that don't scale. This is my favorite part. This is awesome. Do what you gotta do to get the sale. Then scale. Live happy. Just came back from my first of a series of meetings. I got the concept all wrong in the beginning though. I thought it was about introducing yourself to strangers. Yet again, the key was to start with something that is right under your nose, people you know. I am warming up already established relationships and see where I can help people with my skills. If I cannot help, I might be able to refer someone I know could help. It went really well. I got to know 5 new faces. I went to an office and got 1 referral which might lead to a new project. Good stuff. The powerful thing? To help people works incredibly well. P.S. Please don't limit yourself by thinking you don't have a network that is good enough already. Get creative and come up with ways how you can help your existing contacts and how you can tap into their networks. It's not just your money that you should spend on diesel and coffee, you should also spend your time on diesel and coffee. I only work during office hours Monday to Thursday 9 to 2. I also put in some hours in the evening in case you think I'm a slacker. I really only have 20 daytime working hours per week. Each of those hours is very precious to me, and I'm very conscious of wasting time and not working. Yet I devoted 3 full days last week to traveling to other people's businesses and chatting to them for a few hours. I found out what their goals were, and what stood between them and their goals. I got to know them. I then freely showed them the things they could do to improve their sales, revenues, and profits. This week I'm onboarding 3 new clients. Diesel and Coffee Works guys. Love this bit. This is the fastest way to grow your network exponentially and in a sustained manner. I'll just drop this here. That's awesome. Actually reminds me of my father and how he treated his business. He would meet people left and right that recognized him from his business ventures. It could be anywhere from a coffee shop to a grocery store. Whenever someone came up to him, he would talk to them like he knew them for years and chatted them up and sometimes even exchanged information or cards. Yet I would ask, how do you know that guy? He would almost always respond, no idea, but he knew me. I've kept this post in the back of my mind the past couple of weeks. Taking more time to do calls with other entrepreneurs and friends in my network. Each time I come out learning something new. I've worked less, but networked more. But I feel like these meetings have had great effects on my current and future business. A couple of meetings have helped put together the pieces for my next business idea. Pieces that I likely wouldn't have discovered or ever thought of on my own, which were obvious to the people I was meeting with. Someone gave me an idea to easily expand my current business by 10%, with almost no extra work. It was an idea I hadn't even considered. A few meetings where I was mentoring others, helped to clarify my thought process and revisit the fundamentals of my current business. Plus, it's fun to hang out with like-minded people. Sitting on the computer in isolation gets old after a while. So, I had read this thread a while ago. But it never really sank in until Andy and I had a conversation over private message. He sent me another article, which is very similar to what was said here. And it's something that I haven't really thought about. In the beginning we are so worried about how to scale our business. We don't think about the little things that we could do. When you are a new business, getting out there, hitting the pavement and talking to customers and getting customers is huge for your business. For me, I've been so worried about getting this website and application done, that I haven't really been going and talking to the professionals that my business is aimed at helping. Recently, asked me if I had customers ready to buy when my Indiegogo campaign went live. I don't. Why? Because I'm not spending my money on diesel and coffee. What I really should be doing is interacting with my email list and going to random businesses and talking to owners. And while I don't have a hard product to sell them, I can build relationships that, once we go live, I have interested companies. I had misinterpreted what spend your money on diesel and coffee meant. To me, it meant, work hard, work long hours, keep pushing. But what it really means is, get in your car and go meet potential customers. Buy them coffee and talk to them about business. Bingo. Go meet them. Then get personal. Hand-to-hand style. Thanks, Sandy. Helps get my head back in the game. Just not sure I'm in the right game. Emoji 41 sent from my SMA 500W using TaperTalk. I instantly thought of this thread when I listened to this podcast today. This episode is about Airbnb's founders talking about how they nurtured the relationship with their first customers. It's pretty big when you look at a company with a $31 billion valuation and see that their founders stayed at the homes of all of their early adopters. They also offered to take professional photos of all of their customers' listings as well. Not only were they able to foster great relationships, which led to referrals, they were able to develop their business around the real-time feedback from their customers. I think that is the most important part. If we design our products in isolation, we'll never truly know what our customers need or want. One of the lessons from the Airbnb founders that I took to heart is this: ask your customer what their ideal experience would be. Take that feedback and build that. This is exactly what I needed. With a decent budget, it wouldn't be too hard to take a few people to lunch or meet for a breakfast. In-person meetings are good if expected. Nobody likes a pop-by unless you have something good to deliver. I was never into this type of interruption marketing. Networking events, weekly meetups, events of the business you want to do business with are all good examples. A good friend of mine works with non-profits. His way in the door is by making a small donation and asking about what they do. Takes a lot of gusto, but his approach is non-threatening and his only goal is to set up a time to speak later. The donation goes a long way. $25 in-person donation can get you past a gatekeeper. Thanks for sharing. Bump. We've seen some threads lately asking where to start, how to find business, if the sales pitch is enticing enough, etc. Here's the thing, every business receives multiple, maybe even dozens of emails and phone calls a day trying to be sold something. They are constantly sent to websites and landing pages with enticing copy and promises to increase their profit. You know what doesn't happen? They don't have somebody walk in, shake their hand and say, "My name is XYZ, it's nice to meet you. I love X, Y and Z about your business." And then stop talking. Look at Andy's post below. I guarantee if he spends 2 hours with a business owner, he probably talks no more than 30 of the 120 minutes. He asks questions and then he hears their pain points. He hears what they want to improve, and once he knows these things, it is easy for him to steer the conversation into how he can help them. Please, please, please try this. You will be absolutely amazed at what you can learn and accomplish from in-person conversations. After starting my web business and doing networking and building relationship, I will say, spend money on diesel or coffee and time on meeting people. It beats every other mode of helping others and gaining clients. It builds trust, it builds relationship. Really. Today I can say, with proof and live example, that this post and quote resound with truth. I think this is a perfect format for what we talked about. I opened the thread and skimmed the transcript to see if it's something I'd be interested in. Then when I realized it was, I put on the video, to listen to it and do something else while listening. All of the benefits of a normal thread, all of the benefits of audio. Maybe a hit format. Tom Hopkins quotes a sales dude in his book How to Master the Art of Selling with the simplest advice ever. Get face to face with 20 ppl a day and you'll become a top seller. I said WTF and tried it 1 week. I talked to 9 ppl on the first day, 3 ppl on the next and 13 on the third. No joke, my tiny business tripled that month. Of course, I haven't done it again because I got sucked down a rabbit hole, but this post reminded me of just how simple it is to bring in revenue when you take the time to actually talk to people. Thank you for the post. Did it need the transcript, or could the show notes introducing the video have done the same job? Spend your money on diesel and coffee. Damn, I love that. So much that I made it into one of those quote things you see for inspiration. I went with a sort of classy look. Reminds me of one of those minimalistic ads you see for really high-end products, and yes, I used my own photo. Yeah, I know it says coffee and diesel. I think for the sake of the quote, it looks better that way. For me, the image should be of 2 people in a cafe or restaurant having a chat over a coffee. Informal, on neutral ground, non-salesy. No projectors. No laptops. No note-taking. No salesman versus prospect. Just 2 peers having a chat to see how they can help each other. The quote is not about doing a lot of mileage and staying up late. It's about making the effort to go to where your prospects are in person or online, and having a non-sale easy chat with them for about an hour. My version of diesel and coffee is an hour-long Skype call. I agree, man. Unfortunately, I had to work with what I had. Carrot, this is what it's about. I got it. Just wanted to clarify, so you didn't think it meant to work yourself to the bone and live off coffee. Here's an example of my own version of spend your money on diesel and coffee. I was thinking about this earlier, and I think one of the problems that guru entrepreneurship has created is people have forgot that as a businessman, you're there to solve problems and to figure out others' problems. By default, you should be having relationships with your customers. You should be talking to prospects without the idea of hard selling them. Business is based on relationships, and I think many people miss this. We're all focusing too much on hustling, making millions, getting nice cars and big mansions when we should be focusing on our customers and learning about them, creating and maintaining relationships. That's why this quote is so powerful. It flips what people commonly think as entrepreneurship on its head. I liked the transcript. There should be an easy-to-export transcripts since YouTube automatically generates subtitles for all videos. Yep, just checked and there is an easy way of exporting. Summary would be helpful too. Maybe just a quick summary then paste in the transcript. This format is really great. Last night I was just skimmed the transcript, realized I was interested, then listened to the video. And I agree with the people in the engagement thread. If I wasn't able to skim the transcript, it may not have hooked me and I might not have watched. The added summary might make it even easier for people to see if they're interested, because a summary is basically you skimming and extracting out the most interesting or important points, so it's not up to chance. But I think this format is a home run. Such a fascinating thread. And the video format is cool, but I agree. I do not want to get into a 15 minutes boring chat, so the summary and the transcript convinced me that it was worth watching the video. Interesting. I'll add the length of the video to the CTA, because it's not 15 minutes. I want to highlight the mentioned article. It really is a good article with many insights. Thanks for that. As always, this is a great article and it suits me perfectly right now. I'm currently working on a concept for an idea and I was searching for ways to validate it. Now I know that I will just invite my potential customers for a coffee and talk with them about their business, my idea and how I can help them. Thanks again for this food for thought. Keep up the great work, Andy. What a great way to thank someone. Tell them what you're going to do with the knowledge you've just gained. Thanks for the feedback. I've been thinking so much about this diesel and coffee lately lol. For me, going and socializing or talking to business owners where they are is just so much more enjoyable and effective than pipelines and funnels and what have you. Maybe it's a case of each to his own. But I've noticed some people near a similar level to me 1 to 3 years in spend unbelievable amounts of time chasing new jobs that it feels like that's their actual job lol. Oh wait, that's right, you are actually a web designer, I forgot. I know I sound a bit naive and my situation is different to someone that has a lot more responsibilities and urgency than me though. But that's my take. I'm loving diesel and coffee more and more. I was on a call with an agency client last night. We're only 1 month in, and they already like the way we work and communicate and what we're doing. They're thinking of white labeling us for their clients. They have about 25 clients I believe, with goals to grow, hence hiring us in the first place. We've had more calls than I usually have with a client at this stage, but I don't charge for them. I consider this diesel and coffee still. I'm chatting to them, trying to understand their business, and figure out how to help them while still growing the kind of business I want to grow. I had another chat with an agency owner a few weeks ago and they brought 5 of their clients in one fell swoop. I've chatted to his PM for an hour, and he now knows better what I can do for their clients. They've put me in front of a client to explain what we're doing. I chatted to him for an hour too and he's excited and more trusting of the process. The most important formula in business is R plus R equals profit. Blaise Brosnan. I like having a subscription-based business where I can speak to the business owners. I don't charge for those additional calls. I welcome them. It allows me to build relationships, and learn better how to help them. Having a subscription business means I have had clients for years. That's a long time to build a relationship over. This is the beauty of repeat business. The first R, the second R is referrals. All those free diesel and coffee chats help the people I speak to understand what I do better, and they refer me on to their other business owner friends or clients. I consider being white labeled as the ultimate in referring because they're trusting me with their clients. Note that I rarely travel to people anymore. My version of diesel and coffee is a free Zoom call. That's awesome. I want to hear about them instead of this guy then. Any links? And I posted in my thread what I am doing. If you want to help, then give me a link or a post detailing how people in my situation did this or how to get the same results via spending your money on internet bills. Yup. This is one that is inapplicable to me. What alternatives are there? I have moved on from forums or Reddit or Facebook or WhatsApp. Got more leads with Bumble but nothing closed yet. Trying out new cold emailing strategy and Slack. For networking. Does spending money on Slack work? Do you have examples? What do you think I have been doing for the last year? While I have been away? It's weird. You think that a simple statement of facts is playing victim to circumstances. If you want to help me and not every piece of advice is applicable, then surely the first thing to work out would be to establish my circumstances. If you know those first, then you will never suggest inapplicable advice. I will never have to reject it and avoid the appearance of me automatically dismissing everything. I'm trying to avoid antagonizing. You hear, I literally never see people who are just making excuses, so I'm completely unable to comprehend it. I'm using to screen my text, missed it too. So it would be learning data. If you can explain why I appear to be playing victim to circumstances, I can address the issue. It seems to be perception, more than an actual fact. I took it rather too literally. Finding them online is currently where I am struggling. I have the webcam on order from Argos. We'll try Zoom. I'm trying to come at it from the other direction though. Find people online first, then use that money to pay for more little diesel. I am happy to have seen that thread. It's funny that this practice you call diesel and coffee. I've done that all my life. As a youngster I rode my motorbike very much and visited bike workshops, asking whether I can help them repairing bikes. Some let me work, some just had a coffee. But the relationship lasted on without me knowing that I could need it someday. Years later I got my dream job and boom, I had them all as customers with my much higher educated job. Now, when I want to try a side hustle, I just have to decide, in what direction. Thank you for doing this. It is ridiculously simple and is a powerful thing to do based on ROI anyway. I have forgotten the simplicity of in-person interaction and got my answer to my current stagnation problem. Wow! What an amazing thread. Thank you, Andy. Perfect timing too. The critical path has led me to a position where it's time to start reaching out to people. I came across this thread to ready my approach. Below are the notes I made to keep in mind while I make my approach. Spend your money on diesel and coffee means get out there, see the people. Treat them as people. Make friends, get to know them. Service-oriented, not sales-oriented. Non-sale easy, neutral ground, no note-taking, no laptops, just build a relationship and see if we can help each other. It's a concept that reminds me of Dale Carnegie How to Win Friends and Influence People, where the conversations were more about the person being approached than they were about the product of the person making the approach. Every business has dozens of emails and phone calls of people trying to sell them something. Somebody said this and it's good to remember when making my approach. Nobody cares about your digital marketing mumbo-jumbo. And listen. Design your product or offer around real people's feedback. Your aim is to help people. Shouldn't be that hard to do. You want people ready to buy before you launch? Get creative with your existing network. An hour Zoom meeting between peers chatting about how they can help each other grow your business one customer at a time. Every potential customer deserves the same sincerity and care instead of rushing from one to the other. Most important formula in business, greater than repeat business plus referrals equals profit. I put myself through college working on commission in a clothing store using this philosophy. Referrals are the highest compliment. It's 10 times cheaper to keep an existing customer than to get a new one. Always be available, take care of your clients. Welcome phone calls, greater than they are a chance to build relationships. You never know who they may refer and learn better how you can help them. I've seen a few videos with the complete transcript there. I love the idea. I rarely listen to a video, most times will just read it over. I found a lot of videos used to be the first 1 or 3 was fluff or talking about what they do. The second 1 or 3 was the actual info, and the last 1 or 3 is a sales pitch. Having a transcript makes it way easier to filter. I don't think my chats or videos would make good transcripts. I often change sentence mid-word as I think on the fly. I made opposite experiences. Back in the days of our consulting business, we spent so much time and money on diesel and coffee, or rather lunch, and exchanging business cards. My takeaway from this was that 97% of meetings or meetups amount to nothing more than one more business card. But experiences obviously vary. Did those chats not end up in building longer-term relationships, or those people then referring you to other people? No, unfortunately not. But we've been in the wrong business, anyway. I finally noticed 14 months in and sold my shares in the company. Consulting for startups. Well, the idea was that we consult for free and take a percentage of the company. But it was or should have been pretty obvious from the beginning that we'd run into cash flow problems. Because founders rarely have money, setting up a company and making sales costs a lot of time, and, let's not forget about the high percentage of people who love to entertain the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, but get cold feet when it actually becomes real. Help the people in motion. Amy Hoy. Bumping these gems.